Okay guys, here it is. As promised, I went to the track, I shot some video, gave some of my feedback of what I thought of this fine automobile over here. However, I am George Costanza, Lord of the Idiots. I'm just going to come out and say that right away because I am a moron. I'm just going to tell you real quick what happened. Got to the track, did my warm-up laps, okay? First 15 minutes on track, our full caution yellow, just to see where the marshals are. And again, I don't know this car well enough. I went into track mode, and those of you who have a C7 probably already know this, and I haven't even read a manual, haven't really looked at any YouTube videos on how to set up certain things, whatever, other than that turning that little knob to see where you want to put your setting for the suspension. And I think you have weather for like rain or something like that. Then you have econo, touring, sport, and then track. Put it in track for the warm-up laps just so I could kind of get a feel for the car. And then when I came into the pits, shut the car off, shot some video saying what we were going to be doing with a friend of mine, got in the car, went out on track. And those of you know, again, if you have a C7, when you put it in track mode, it's TR. Dashboard changes, and you know you're in track. I jumped back in the car, saw the letter T, dash looked different, but I'm like, maybe that's what happens when you just, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I just thought I was still in track mode, and I wasn't. I was in touring mode. Other than my warm-up laps, the rest of the time, I was in touring mode, and I did the entire track day in touring mode. Now, you're going to hear me complain. I'm still going to put up the video. It's not a total loss. You're going to hear me complain that I felt kind of like the car may have been slightly underpowered, and that's for a couple of reasons. One being, again, I wasn't in track mode. I kept my traction control on. Those of you who go to track a lot know that when you're on track, you usually take traction control off. But I'm a very thorough individual, and I want to learn the car, and I decided to keep traction control on because I'm running the stock tires with the Michelin Pilot Sport, whatever, run flats. And for the most part, they grip fine. Like, you're going to hear me talk about that throughout the video. It's roughly 8 minutes or so. If you want to skip forward to the very end or whatever the case is, I just need to tell you guys that because it wasn't really, I'm giving you a review, but not giving you a review the way it probably should have been. And again, not a total loss. The car, even in touring mode, felt pretty good, but normally when in my C5 down a couple of the straights, I'm usually in about 190, 200 kilometers an hour, and the best I could kind of muster up was about 180-ish, and it should have been faster. Mind you, the C5 had the BTR stage 3 cam, which kind of gets you the mid to high horsepower. That's where it really loves to be, and it gives a lot of drive. Where, I'm not sure about this, where the actual power really starts coming on. Like, you feel it felt good, but again, still getting used to like the ranges of where it really play. The whole track really kept it in third to fourth gear. And when you're on track in just about any sports car, especially when you have a certain type of gearing, you're not going to be switching gears all the time anyway. You're usually going to be in the red or close to your power band most of the time, so you're going to be using 2 gears, maybe 3 at the most. Fuck. That being said, pardon my language. That being said, there's another event in 2 weeks from now. There's an event next week, which is half track. I'm going to be working, but I'll probably be able to go out and do a few laps. And this time I'm going to be in track mode for sure. And I'm going to see how it feels then. So basically, take the review with a grain of salt. It wasn't really like some sort of bad review to begin with. The car's still pretty capable, even in touring mode on track, which is pretty good. But now I know it could be better, which is a good thing, which is great. It's just, I messed up. I'm an imbecile. Shit. Anyhow, that's it. Watch the video if you like, and hear me talk about some stuff, whatever, and just go from there. Thanks.
as promised, we are here at Calibogie Motorsports. We're going to talk about this racetrack after and all the good stuff that's here. But for now, we're going to test out Z51 2015 3LT on track and tell you guys, walk you through guys like how it feels while we're out driving around on the track, so on and so forth. So this is going to be, we'll call it the second episode of a long-term review, and then we'll worry about, you know, viewing it on the street and its characteristics there. But right now we're on the track, so let's go try it out. Okay guys, so we're in track mode right now. We're going to make our way out. Now this racetrack has a lot of elevation changes, some tight corners, couple good straights, and it runs 5.5 kilometers. And I think it's the longest track right now in Canada and possibly North America, but don't quote me on that. A nice little GTR. Thanks, BD. There's a lot of guys on track right now. So we're running stock tires right now. No scrubs, no race tires, just stock. Nothing else has been changed on this car. No fluid changes, no prep work whatsoever. Straight off the showroom floor. Compared to my C5, and maybe a characteristic of this car, but we should be pulling about 200 kilometers at least down that straight. The car feels almost underpowered, dare I say. So it's probably me not getting a good hole shot out of the corner. A lot smoother than mine, and it just seems to be missing a little bit of that visceral feel. Mind you, I'm not running a 5-point harness like I did before, and again, don't have the race tires, so that all those play its factors. Surprisingly enough, even with these tires, it does feel good. And I will say, at least on the handling front, it does feel pretty good. the brakes, so I got to be very careful I don't boil them. Last thing I want to do right now. But my co-pilot wants me to chase down this GS or Z06 or whatever the hell it is. Traction control, this is way more modified where it'll keep you in check, even in track mode, which is actually a good thing. For the 0.5, I wasn't going to take it, but hey. My concern now is not so much the handling of tires. I can start getting a little bit of a feel for the car. It's the brakes. Oh, I messed that turn up a little. Wrong gear. What I should have did, and I have it on this car, is the rev match, and I didn't set it up. So I'm just doing the old-fashioned heel and toe. I'm gonna go really on the brakes. I really don't want to mess things up. I want to boil it, boil the fluid. Should have changed it before coming, but not enough time. Oh boy. Co-pilot, what do you think?
Very impressed so far. Very smooth, very deceiving.
That's the key word. Thank you, Mr. Co-Pilot Johnny Chen from Hybrid Racing. It is deceiving. Traction just kicked in again. The tires are getting hot, so we're gonna pull in. As much as I want to chase this guy, we're gonna do like a cool down lap and then pull in. Don't want to overheat the brakes. Maybe we'll catch him before going, we'll see. Going to be our cool down lap, so we're just going to take it easy from here. We'll let the BMW pass us, let everyone pass us. Now guys, those of you who do track, when you're going hard on the brakes and you're driving your car hard, don't just pull into the pits. That's one of the worst things you could do. You can warp your brakes. You got to give everything a minute to cool off. So that's why we're going slow right now. Driving Miss Daisy. But overall, not too bad. Go ahead, pause it. So that was our first real session of the day. Still kind of early to give my impressions. One thing I will say about this, if you have a C5, I can't say for sure about a C6. The way the traction control cuts in on this is very, very intuitive. It's a lot smoother than a C5 where the more you start slipping, it just grabs you and stops you almost in your tracks. Where this does not. This is super, super subtle and it keeps you in check. For example, a friend of mine drove in a Z06 and I was chasing him down in my C5 and he was telling me, he goes, when the car's taking the corners, it's so subtle, but you feel the car cutting where you can chomp on the gas and you won't get bent out of shape. And that's even while in track mode. So right now we are in track mode. But the car is extremely smooth. So the tires did get beat up. A couple of things. I didn't even check the tire pressure. Probably a little higher than what they should be. But overall they're still maintaining like some decent grip. Maintain some decent grip for stock tires. Mind you, I think after this, these tires are done. As you can see, we're already getting some grooves in there. Just want to make sure we're not touching the top of the fender. So I never did anything with the ride height on this car. I didn't touch anything. This is straight out of the box. Like I said, next thing, if you want to track a car, doesn't matter what car it is, you got to change the fluids. You got to get the best fluid you can so they don't overheat and they don't boil, especially on the brakes. Number one thing. So for now, we're going to give the car a breather. And again, those of you who are just getting into track days perhaps, or if you guys already have experience, you guys already know, like I said, don't forget your cool down lap when you're doing hot laps. Don't forget to put up the hood. Release some of that heat. Let the car cool off for 5-10 minutes, whatever you prefer, and then you get to go out again. So look, that's it for now. We're going to be going and doing some more hot laps, but I think I got most of it down of what I said I wanted to say about this car. And I'm still figuring it out. John, you said a couple key words in there. What did you think of this car?
It totally not like the C5 at all. The C5 was raw, had a lot of vibrating, shake, and whereas
Hello,
this,
Jason.
it's very, very smooth and very quiet in comparison. So there is a learning curve.
For sure. And one thing he also said was the car is deceiving. This car is deceitful. Where a C5 or C6 will scream, yell at you, and tell you things that you might not want to hear. This car will just whisper sweet nothings. And you don't realize, it's so smooth that sometimes you don't realize what's happening on the track, and you can feel the power, but the power is not raw and aggressive, even though it has more horsepower than my C5 did. It's just the way that horsepower was used. So, call this episode 2. We're gonna do some more. We're gonna get some more track time in, some more road testing and everything else, and we'll go from there. See you guys soon.